Well, another big story we're following tonight comes from inside Portland City Hall. I sat down with Outgoing City Administrator Michael Jordan today in an interview that at times got emotional. Jordan is one of the most powerful figures in City Hall, overseeing day-to-day operations, managing around 7,000 city employees and a more than $8 billion budget. And he helped guide the city through the transition into its new form of government. At the end of the year, he's retiring. Here's part of our conversation. How would you describe your time as Portland City Administrator?
Exciting, hard, unpredictable, and for me, incredibly gratifying.
So you agreed to stay on to help throughout the government transition. Mm-hmm. Can you describe what that was like from your perspective? Did the new form of government make your job harder or even impossible at times?
You know, there's a lot of ambiguity right now in the relationship between the administration, the mayor as the executive, and the council as legislative body. And that ambiguity is causing some challenges in doing the job well. We need more commonly accepted rules of engagement. As by way of example, how does a councilor's idea as a legislator move from idea to a piece of legislation that the full council can deliberate on clearly, make a decision, and that the administration feels comfortable that it can be implemented? And we don't quite have a process yet that's clear to everybody about how that works.
That seems like a pretty basic thing though, right?
Well, it does. On the other hand, we have 13 elected officials who came in feeling like they had not only, well, they felt like they had an individual mandate from their constituency, either a district or the folks that they feel like voted for them, to do what they felt was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think some would say this new council came in a little hot, for better,
a little hot,
for worse.
Yeah, and understandably so.
Okay, let's talk homelessness. The city continues to fight to find a way to clean up our streets and help those suffering, but it's still a problem. Mm-hmm. What, from your perspective, is getting in the way?
Well, there's no one thing that is getting in the way. I think the city and the county and this, I don't know, for good or ill, both entities being in pretty significant fiscal stress is going to force both entities to come together and really examine the entire system.
Is that city-county relationship when it comes to homelessness getting any better?
I think it's a lot better than it was 18 months ago. 18 months ago, we weren't talking to each other that much. We have a lot more data than we had 18 months ago. Mm-hmm. That's real. You can look at it and say, oh my goodness, we kind of know what's happening now. Having said all of that, I would be remiss if I didn't say that the city and the county cannot solve this problem on their own. This problem is a structural problem based on the economy, based on the fact that American capitalism and American democracy are not distributing power and wealth, they're concentrating it. And because of that, the people at the margin, at the lower end of the economic scale, that margin is growing. And we've got 7,000 people-ish on the street in Multnomah County. There are 70,000 people that are one broken arm, one broken down car, one paycheck away from being on the street. And until we deal with that, we will continue to treat this symptom of an economic ill.
Why does that hit you?
Because it's avoidable. Not by decisions made by the city and county. These are just bigger issues that are resolvable, but it's going to take this country coming to grips with the fact that this isn't working.
It's just going to get worse.
It is.
Yeah. You recently said the mayor's shelter system is sucking up a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Would you say the mayor is spending too much money on a crisis that many argue will never be
solved?
No.
Okay.
I mean, what I just talked about earlier is an important issue. The crisis on the street is an urgent issue.
Is this the most painful issue that you've had to?
I think so. These kinds of challenges are both really hard, but they're also incredibly seductive. They'll suck every minute of every day, 365, out of you, and it will want more. And so if you're going to do this for the long haul and do it well, you have to keep your balance.
Words of advice there for all of us, and more importantly, for the incoming city administrator. Jordan will be at City Hall throughout the rest of the year. Then 41-year-old Raymond Lee will step in as the new city administrator. Lee previously served as city manager of Greeley, Colorado. He's scheduled to start work for Portland on December 29th. Now, arguably his biggest challenge right out of the gate is next year's forecasted budget shortfall of $66 million. Now, Jordan tells me that is just the tip of the iceberg, since it does not take into account inflation and one-time funds expiring. You can watch my full interview with Michael Jordan that lasted nearly half an hour over on our streaming app, KGW+. You can also find it on KGW.com and our KGW YouTube page.